Hello students. The other day we had studied about active and passive voice. I had explained it to you well and also had told you that I will be giving you some sentences to solve in the class. So today let's do that. But before we could go to the sentences or the exercises, I would like you to remember what we had done. Though I am not going to revise the full class, I'll be just revising some things that are important. First and foremost, the other day we studied that there are two types of voices and they are active voice and passive voice. For example, Rama hits the ball is the active voice, whereas the ball is hit by Rama is the passive voice. Now, students, how do we know which is the active and which is the passive voice? We had seen that in the first sentence, the verb hits shows that the subject Rama does the action or the subject acts. The verb hits is therefore said to be in the active voice. The second sentence, the verb is hit, that is the ball is hit by Rama. In the second sentence, the verb is hit shows that the action is done to the subject ball. Action is done to the subject ball. In this sentence, the ball is a subject over here, which was the object in the active voice. Okay? And so, the verb is hit is therefore said to be in the passive voice. Then, when the verb shows that the subject does the action, the verb is said to be in the active voice. Students, if you remember, the other day I had explained it to you. Subject, verb, and then comes the object. In the passive voice, it becomes that the object takes the place of the subject. Subject takes the place of the object. And we write the verb with past participle, which I'll be showing it to you just now again. But look at this. When the verb shows that the object, when the subject does the action, the verb is said to be in the active voice. When the verb shows that the subject receives or suffers the action, the verb is said to be in the passive voice. Passive means receiving or suffering. The other day also I had explained it to you. The object of the verb in the active voice becomes the subject of the verb in the passive voice. The active voice has the subject before the verb. I had explained, I had showed you, once again I am going to show you the example. The active voice has the subject before verb. Now look here. The boy washed the car. What is the subject? The boy washed is the verb and the car is the object. Look here now. The passive voice has the object before the verb. The car was washed by the boy. The car, which was the object, becomes subject. Wash remains in its place, but the subject becomes object. So, when the subject is the doer of the action and the action passes from subject to object, the sentence is in the active voice. When the subject is not the doer of the action, rather the action is done to the subject, the sentence is said to be in the passive voice. So, I suppose you have understood this. The other day also I explained it to you. The boy washed the car, active voice. The action of washing passes from the subject, the boy, to the object, the car. The boy to the object, the car. The car was washed by the boy is the passive voice and the action of washing is done to the subject, the car, by the boy. Look here again as we come down. You remember the other day we had done this something? Okay. Look here. I have shown you by bringing the arrows over here. They sell petrol, which is in the active voice, where they is the subject, sell is the verb, and petrol is the object. I have shown the arrow, student. This arrow is of the petrol, okay, of the object. Now, look here, as I had told you, subject becomes object. What is the subject? They becomes object, object becomes subject, and so therefore petrol, sell becomes in the past participle is a sold, okay, is sold by them. As I have shown you over here the table, in the when you are changing or turning the sentences from active to passive, I becomes me, he becomes him, she becomes her, we becomes us, and they become them. Okay, so look at this. Petrol is sold by them. Petrol is sold by them. Petrol is a subject over here. Is sold is a verb, and by them. Now, after this, I also have taught you many other things which I am not going to do the revision, but I am directly going to the exercise, and therefore, let's see the exercise. Remember, students, what we have done over here. Remember, now you have to answer the following questions. Today, Tommy found a real book. You have to turn into passive, or change the voice will be given in the bracket, and you have to change the voice. First and foremost, what you need to do, you have to see in which voice it is, whether it is in the active voice or it is in the passive voice. Second thing is what you have to do is that look whether it is in the present tense or the past tense. I have taught you last time. We have seen some examples. Now, in the sentence, I always tell you to find out what is the verb. What is the verb? I tell you to find out. Then the subject and the object. Verb is the found. Today, it's an adverb. You may keep it in the place as it is. You may keep it in the place as it is. As students, don't look at the number. So we keep today as it is. Okay. Then Tommy found a real book. Tommy is a subject, will become object, but the object is a real book, will become a subject. Therefore, we write today a real book was found by Tommy. Okay, students, you get it? Today remain in the same place. Okay, found was the verb, but subject becomes object and object becomes subject. Found is in the past tense, so we wrote found. Okay, I suppose students you are with me. You understand what I have done? Today a real book was found by Tommy. Now see the second one. Students, let me highlight it for your sake. Okay, this is the answer. See the second one. Margie wrote about it that night in her diary. Come on. Who would like to make a sentence? Who would like to, without looking here and there, use the formula that I have given you? See, what is the object? What is the subject? I had told you there can be more than one object. Margie is a subject over here. Wrote is a verb. And then comes the object. So let's begin our answer. What will our answer be? It was written. It was W-R-I-T-T-E-N. Why written, students? The past participle of write, wrote, and then written. It was written about, A-B-O-U-T, about that night by Margie, by M-A-R-G-I-E, by Margie, in her diary, in her. Okay, you saw, students? Did you understand? It was written about that night by Margie in her diary. Then let's see the third one. What is the third sentence? They called her name. Where is this, students? They called her name. They is a subject, called is a predicate or a verb, her name is a object. So what your answer will be, students? Object becomes subject, her name was called by them. Got it, students? Over here. Okay. Her name was called by them. They becomes them in the passive voice. Her name was called by them. Now see the sentence number 4. She had captured most of the awards. She had captured most of the awards. Now students, what will the answer be? First find out what is the subject, the verb and the object. Object is most of the awards. So begin with that. Most of the awards. Since it is in the past participle, look here. So what will write? Had been captured by her. Got it, students? Now let's see who is able to do the fifth one. Let me see if you are able to do the fifth one, students. Teach your children music. I had told you how it would be. In the previous class, I had told you, teach your children music. Now, your children music is the object over here. Subject is not mentioned over here. Where there is a teach is the predicate. So, how will you begin this answer? Let your children be taught music. So students, you got it? What we did over here? I am going to give you similar some examples which you will have to solve it for the homework. Okay? Teach your children music. Let your children be taught music. Now, look at this. 6. A barber decided to improve the tonal quality of pungi. 6. 7th, bring my tea into drawing room. And the 8th, he blew out the candle. These 3 sentences, I am giving it to you for the homework. I want you to write on your own by using the formula that we have seen about subject, predicate and the object, or subject, verb and the object. Object becomes subject, subject becomes object, and how we change the verb by using past participle. So I suppose you have understood it. You will do this. Look at these 3 answers. Look at these 3 answers. Your question number 6, 7 and 8 is the homework. I am going to stop the class over here. If you have any doubt in solving these 3 questions, you can ask me. Have a good day.